And also the rest of the team from North that is here, Mr. Jack Klein, who is managing the technology over here, our PACE coach. And our fabulous Fabiola Lozano, who probably was outside directing you and getting things taken care of. So that's the group that we have here. Please know that we are all working together within Region North to support the schools in the process of parent and community engagement. We do have a very full agenda, so I'm going to go ahead and start off right away. And we're going to, we have something that's going to be visiting as an answer to the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by introducing, and having the pleasure of introducing the LA Unified School District Board member representing Board District 3, Mr. Scott Schmilson. Okay, so he's delayed a little bit, so we'll come back to that. Let me just take care of some housekeeping items before we start. First of all, you will see a QR code if you have not done so. This is the QR code to sign in. It really helps us if you use the code to sign in. If you are with us virtually, there is a link listed there that you can sign in virtually. Or if you are like I am, and like it the old school way, there is a sign-in sheet in the back of the room. Secondly, as you're signing in, we need to take an opportunity to remind you, if you have not done so yet, please be sure to complete the school experience survey. The deadline is this Friday, the 9th. The deadline is this Friday, the 9th. If you have not done so, or if the parents within your parent center or on the school site have not, please spend some time the rest of the week encouraging them to do so. It is an extremely important tool that helps us collect valuable information that guides us in our decision-making processes. If you've not also, though, with regard to the school experience survey, on the tables, you will notice there are QR codes with links to those surveys in the languages that it was available. So they're on the they're at the tables, and you'll have time as the day progresses. In addition, if you need interpretation, please follow the link. Interpretation. Please follow there are directions posted up here. You can go to the interpretation link and choose the interpretation icon, and that will be able to listen to the presentation in your language. If you happen to be on an iPad or a mobile device, there is a little bit different way of signing in, and that involves the 3 dots on the screen. So let's make sure that we take care of those housekeeping items before we move on. Yeah, question? Do we want to go back? He's going to put it back.
That's the survey.
No, go back.
Survey.
No, they want the sign-in sheet, the QR for the sign-in.
Good morning. Good morning.
Or do it the old-fashioned. Any other questions while we're just kind of taking care of our housekeeping? You all know the restrooms are in the back of the auditorium.
Good morning. Buenos días.
I am being told that our board member was delayed a little bit, so we're going to move forward with what we have.
Your board member's here.
Before I introduce the reason that we're all here. So let me go ahead and just go over some of the norms as we move forward with this meeting. First of all, I want to remind everybody that we are here and we need to keep kids a priority. Students are our priority. That is why we are here. We will speak and we will communicate respectfully, monitoring our speech to provide every participant with a safe and welcoming environment. We believe that we can agree to disagree, and we believe that there might be more than one solution to a problem. In your packets, you all should have a copy of the agenda, a paper copy of it, so you can see we have quite a few speakers that are going to be joining us today.
Mr. Schmaltz's here.
Shift back to my other order. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to all of you the Los Angeles Unified School District Board Member representing Board District 3, Mr. Scott Nelson.
Well, thank you very much. Just allow me to turn on my video and I'll be ready to go. It says I cannot start my video because my host has stopped it.
On second.
We're working
Sure.
with
It's
the
okay.
technology, bear with us.
No, it's a good presentation. I'll be well welcomed.
I believe they're having a
You may not have to turn it on.
and we're having technical difficulties, but I believe we're going the other
It's
way,
okay.
so
It's okay.
we'll give
If
it
you'd
a
like,
minute to do this.
if you would like, I can always give my presentation and be the mystery guest.
Superintendent for when we were local district Northwest, but now he is officially ours as our Region North Superintendent, Dr. Baca.
Thank you so much. Good morning. It's a busy time. I appreciate you making time to be here. I know there are many events at our schools right now. At my daughter's school, I have the following activities over the next 2 weeks. A fashion show, that's today. An Academy Awards celebration, that's coming up sometime soon, Friday, I think. I have to check my calendar, and of course, a holiday program. So very busy. Appreciate those of you who made time to be here. As was shared, I've had the pleasure of serving LA Unified in numerous different positions, including teacher. I'm a middle school English teacher, taught high school as well. Elementary principal, K through 8, secondary principal, 7 through 12. Of course, at the local district level. downtown, and thrilled to be here in Region North. This is where I live and where I'm a dad and my daughter goes to school. So being here and serving means so much to me. I did want to share a couple updates. The first of which we mentioned is on the next slide, you'll see we're now in regions. So 7 days ago exactly, or 7 business days ago, last 8 days ago, officially, we became divided. Instead of being in 6 local districts, we're now into 4 regions, and they're pretty easy. The next slide, you'll see a map: north, south, east, and west. So the north is now, it's done a little bit of settling. Region North is quite large. Region North is now 252 schools. It's all the schools in the valley. So everything that was former local district Northeast and everything that's former local district Northwest is now Region North. Now, there was this little point in time where the mighty Taft community of schools near Taft High School, etc., was heading to Region West. But some mighty parents said, no, we want to stay part of the valley. And the great news is central office listened. So that change just happened as of yesterday. So they were with Region West for just 1 week, but they're back home here. And our mighty Taft community of schools, it spans all the way from Encino West. So you think of Encino Elementary and Lanai Road, schools that are really from where we are now, only a couple of miles away. We're excited to have them back in Region North. So that's the big thing. We'll be updating our website. There'll be a new Region North website, social media, etc. So stay tuned for that. And we're really excited. A theme we're using for our principals is together is better. It's really our opportunity to come together, share promising practices that occurred on that side of the 405, this side of the 405, really just put our heads together to figure out how to make things even better for students, including accelerating outcomes in several key areas, which I'll discuss. Here, this is our theory of action in our LA Unified Strategic Plan. So give me a moment, I'm going to read over it. I promise I won't lecture you to death, but I wanted to share a little bit, including a key vision for where our regional offices, the role they play in our big district, right? Because as a district, we're pretty giant. So as you look here, when we learn from our community, so honoring parent, family, community voices, and bring the lived experience of our students and families into our planning, support our teachers, leaders, and staff to deliver academically challenging, data-informed, and equity-driven education, proactively collect, analyze, and share information that clearly defines where students stand in terms of academics and social emotional wellness, and align our actions and resources at every level of the organization to drive improvement in teaching and learning, then all LA Unified students will graduate ready for the world to thrive in college, career, and life. I'll mark a few things from that. Number one, the whole idea of moving into regions is to drive greater coherence and alignment across the whole system. Superintendent Carvalho, as all of you know, came from Miami with a clear vision for LA Unified, tons of experience, tons of knowledge. He really is one of the most experienced big school district superintendents in the whole nation. As a matter of fact, he was National Superintendent of the Year. So he came to us with awards and everything, and a really clear vision. So central office downtown at Beaudry is changing the way they're organized. The regions, our role is to take and implement stuff coming from central office, make sure schools are supported in that vision, and to monitor how schools are doing across multiple different data points. So for example, one of the things our schools are doing this week and next week is school-based target setting. They're setting clear goals, what they're going to be able to achieve across 4 key areas, and it varies by level a little bit. I'll share more on this in a moment. I have a slide coming up around it. On the next slide, please. Thank you. These are our current focus areas in Region North, and here's where I'll lean into those targets a little bit. So first, no surprise, academic excellence and acceleration through multi-tiered systems of support. And that means our instruction in our classrooms every day is as good as it can possibly be in meeting all student needs. Now, in LA Unified, I don't need to tell you, we serve a whole variety of different students, from highly gifted students to students learning a new language, to students with an IEP, to every single type of student there is, we serve that. So a big thing that our schools are focusing on, and we're seeing some really good results, I know I do in my daughter's classroom, is small group instruction, where students are working in groups. Teacher may have a group of students, and the teacher is trying to meet that individual student need in the classroom. Now, additionally, we need more and more and more. So what we've always had is some students are behind. After the pandemic, some students have unfinished learning and are even further behind. So what we're asking schools to do right now is have additional learning opportunities after school, intervention, have some on Saturdays. And as a district, and we'll play a quick video in a moment, we're thinking of other ways, right? So there's on-demand homework help. I hope you've heard of this already, but for students at all levels, K through 12, where they can go online, get some homework help, get feedback on an essay. We have that again for students at all levels. We have 2 additional days of learning, acceleration days, which I'll also talk about December 19th and 20th, where we're trying to get extra time for more learning for students. Some key benchmarks we're tracking as a region and our schools will be tracking. Number 1, A through G, C or better. That's for our high school students when they graduate, they have all the classes they need to enter a Cal State, a University of California institution. They have all those classes completed with a grade of C or better. That's a huge, it's our first district goal, what our Board of Education passed. And that's so important because it means when our students graduate and they leave us, they have a full range of options. Right now, they may choose to go to a local community college. They may choose to enter the workforce, take a gap year, but they have a full range of options, and none of those options have been cut off. Next, it's really headed into the meat potatoes of what we do. It's literacy. These are our Smarter Balanced summative assessment scores in English language arts. It's numeracy, focusing on math, reclassification for English learners. That's something we monitor. And next, heading over here, of course, outstanding attendance. That's the language we use in our strategic plan. But as you know, we've had a lot of absences over the past several years. Last year, our chronic absenteeism went all the way up to 40% of our students were chronically absent. Good reason, right? We had plenty going on. Some of our students and or family members were sick. This year, there's plenty still going on. But our attendance rates are not where we need them to be. So we're telling everyone, right? Yeah, everyone has to make that determination. If you got a runny nose, right? Do you have a fever, right? Do you have one of those rapid antigen tests at home and you can take that? Again, I know there's flu, I know there's RSV, I know there's hand, foot, and mouth, plenty of things going on. But luckily, health conditions, knock on wood, are dramatically better than they were a year ago at this time. So we want to see those attendance rates go up in schools, because if you're not there, we're not going to be able to learn and we're not going to get where we want to go. So attendance continues to be a huge issue. And what we're tackling by doing home visits. Some of you may have joined in these home visits. We're literally knocking on doors. I've knocked on plenty of doors myself to talk to families and see what can be done to support student attendance. We're calling people on the phone. Many of you are likely part of that effort some way, either as volunteers or as folks at school. But we're reaching out to every family to see what they need to get the students in school. All right, last but not least, and this was a big topic at our last meeting, is really focusing on our facilities, specifically water bottle filling stations. How do we get more shade on our campuses? Really stuff that I call related to local heat mitigation. We all live in the valley, so you know, despite the fact that it's cool in the morning right now, we'll be heating up before we know it. So what are some things our schools can do to make things the very best for our students? Let them be able to play outside, but also cool off when it's really hot. These are our current focus areas, but this isn't all we're working on. On the next slide, we'll share a few pieces, some of which I've already talked about. Thank you, sir. First, acceleration days. So the first 2 days of winter break, December 19th and 20th, are now our opportunities for acceleration. Today is the last day to register. To register, you just call your school. So some of you filled out that survey that you got. I'm a parent, so that means I get all those Blackboard Connect messages too. I did, I stopped at a red light, don't tell anybody. I clicked yes to acknowledge that my daughter would participate in acceleration days, right? However, many people are like, I don't know, I want to think about it. Now it's getting closer, we're almost there. So now you can just call your school. Even if your school is not one of the sites where acceleration day is happening, so my daughter's school is not one of those sites, I can still call the school and say, I want my daughter to participate in acceleration days, and they will register her. And then I'll get a confirmation email about what that site is. All right, that said, I want to share a little bit about acceleration days because I think it's a real valuable opportunity for folks to have some additional time to catch up. So first, it is open to all students, right? So some students are going to need some support, some intervention. This is the opportunity for that to happen in small groups. A lot of thought and effort has been put into creating lessons to help students. It's going to vary by level, right? And additionally, students who are on grade level, who don't need additional help, this could be an opportunity for them to come, have some extra time, some enrichment. Believe it or not, there's some online field trips planned, some really cool different ideas. It'll be a mix of in-person learning, doing stuff online, etc., but some real enrichment. So that pathway exists as well. Now, for elementary school students, if you're a parent, you're probably deciding for your little one. You might have to do some negotiation, but you're deciding. For our secondary students, right, particularly our high school students, this can be a tough sell. Going to school on those 2 extra days. One thing I want all of you to know, and please help me spread the word, is coming to school and completing work for high school students on these 2 days will help their grade go up. The big carrot is a grade going up. That means I'm a student and I have an F in my Algebra 1 class. If I come, do work assigned by my teacher, complete that work, I can get credit for that from my regular teacher, my grade goes up. That can help my grade go from an F to a D, from a D to a C, yes, C or better is the goal, even from a B to an A C to a B. It's a time to come, do some extra work, get credit for that work, and get the grade to go up. So, as it says here, the deadline to register, which you do by calling your school, is today. But secret, because you're here for this meeting or you're joining us online, we're probably not going to close the registration today. So if somebody calls tomorrow, we'll still make that opportunity. We want folks to take advantage of these acceleration days to get some more learning in. I'm excited to report that as a district, we actually have over 40,000 students registered. So we got a lot, but we got way more students than that. And we have the employees who are willing to work right now, so we can handle more students. So please help me spread the word. It's going to be a good option for a lot of kiddos and a lot of families. All right. Next, I wanted to share quickly what I spoke to before, a little bit about tutoring. Again, we have a variety of different tutoring options. There's some small group stuff schools are doing. There's some online tutoring with an online tutor that we're piloting. And this is really our on-demand homework help. We won't show the video right now, but please know videos exist. That on-demand homework help can happen in English, in Spanish. There are different accommodations available. This is a great tool. You're going to hear us talking about this nonstop for the whole year. We want to give it the full college try to know how many students are accessing this. It takes a little bit of time to get into the rhythm, but once you do, there's really something there for everyone. And again, for our high school kiddos who are applying to college, you can even get help with your college application essay. So really amazing stuff. there, it's available 24/7. With that, next, I wanted to share a few more items. A kindness campaign is forthcoming. So in today's agenda, you're going to see a lot of different activities. Number one, you're going to see a huge focus on wellness, right? That's always important for us adults, for the kiddos, to focus on joy and wellness. It's particularly important for many of us during the holiday season. So thanks so much to Emma, Francis, and others who are doing some work on that. A larger campaign we're going to start pushing out in January is on kindness. This is for all of us, kiddos and adults, but making sure our students are kind to one another. That hits a variety of different areas, from bullying to discrimination. It's really important, but we want to focus on something really positive, a kindness campaign. So you're going to hear a lot about this in January and beyond, starting with Kindness Week and beyond. And please know there's some deep roots to really some of the change we're trying to drive here in Region North. All right, with that, I'll thank our presenters who have put so much time and effort into making today as meaningful as possible, whether you're able to join us in person and or you're joining us online. Again, wellness, we're focusing on supporting all students, literacy, a variety of different topics. I think that's all I hope to share. I hope you had some coffee. I hope you had some coffee cake. I see a few questions. I'll take a few questions before we move on. And in case I forget after the questions, please know I'm wishing you and your family a very wonderful holiday season. I hope you have some time to rest, recharge, and spend time with loved ones. I'll take a few questions, please.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Bonner.
Good morning.
I'm wondering for the acceleration days and transportation be provided, and if not, can kids just go to the school closest to their home? And if they can, then how will the record of their attendance and their work done be applied to their record?
Yeah, so a few things. First, around attendance. So the way attendance will be provided for students with disabilities who have transportation in their IEP. So kiddos who for magnet, one of my colleagues, I know this came up at a meeting this morning.
Yeah, they said if you are going, like if you're homeschool, your science school, let's just say so. If they receive transportation to that school on a regular basis, then they continue to receive. Now, there's a caveat. If you are going to another school that is not your normal homeschool,
Yes.
then they will not provide
Yes.
transportation. So there's a little bit of nuance.
The grades moving up. My school at the state council meeting, we were told this whole group is failing to get E's.
Yeah, so first, let me recap the transportation piece and then we'll come to grades because anyone joining us online won't have heard that answer, which is a little bit nuanced. So first, if I'm a magnet student and the school, and I currently receive transportation to my magnet school, and that magnet school is one of the acceleration day sites, will be able to provide transportation. Now, if in fact I am a magnet student and I don't usually get transportation, I won't get transportation. If I am a magnet student and the magnet school that I attend is not one of the sites, then there will not be transportation. However, I will have the opportunity to go to a school that is closer to my home. That was the transportation question for anyone joining us on Zoom. The next was around grades. Initially, there was thinking that it was only for the kiddos with an F could raise their grades. It's now all students. And it's something that our labor partners, our United Teachers of Los Angeles have agreed to. So the devil's going to be in the details, making sure all that communication happens. It may not be seamless, but there is agreement to make that happen. And we're confident that teachers, so as a former teacher, I can tell you, if I knew a kiddo came for 2 days during winter break and did work, it's very persuasive. But it does apply regardless if it was an F or a B. If you're an A, you can't get better, but we are willing to improve the grades. Yeah. Question over here.
You saying that the rated is only for the high school level, or is it for middle school?
It's for middle school as well. The carrot seems to be a little riper for high school because it's credits and that equals, everything, but it is for middle school as well.
And then if we sign up and you have every intention of going, something comes up, is that gonna be an issue if we can't make it after we've signed up?
We know the reality, which is some people have signed up, so we are going to send a confirmation email that we haven't sent yet, but there will be a way, you'll get a confirmation email and that'll be the opportunity, but we know day of, two things are going to happen. Some had the best of intentions, but suddenly they're not able to come, and or the reality is some will not enroll, but will just show up for whatever reason, so we'll be prepared for that. We have the staff and we know that'll happen. Yep. All right, we will have the opportunity to answer questions later. Our mighty community of school administrators and former Northwest are here, so they can answer questions at the end. Additionally, folks joining us online, we will have our mighty instruction and operations team answering questions for you. With that, let me turn it back. Thank you so much again for being here. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Thank you, Dr. Buckham. I understand that we now are going to have the pleasure of getting to meet board member Scott Merleson. So at this time, we're going to hear from Scott Merleson before we move on to the next presentation. Board member from District Region 3. Thank you.
That's correct. Thank you so much. And let's remember that patience is a virtue. So I'm a very virtuous person. So good morning, everyone. And I hope you all had a restful Thanksgiving with your families. Say, what did you say? You cannot hear me? Shall I continue? All right, I'm going to continue. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Scott Merleson, and I'm the LAUSD board member for Board District 3. So I represent 105 schools within the San Fernando Valley, most of which are here in Region North, formerly known as LD Northwest. So my team and I have visited a total of 28 schools so far.
Here, Mr. Schwarzen. Mr. Schwarzen, we're having difficulties with the audio.
Gosh, it's a good thing I'm not sensitive. Yes. Let me know when you're fixed.
Mr. Schwarzen, we're good to go.
Are we ready to go? Are you ready for me?
Yes, we're ready to go.
All right. Okay. As I said before, patience is a virtue, and I must be a very virtuous person. So good morning to all of you. I hope you had a restful Thanksgiving holiday with your family. And for those who don't know me, my name is Scott Merleson, and I'm the LAUSD board member for Board District 3. I represent 105 schools within the San Fernando Valley, most of which are here in Region North, used to be known as Northwest. And my team and I have visited about 28 schools so far this school year, and we are looking forward to many more school visits. Parents, I want to thank you for being here this morning, and it's been a busy week, and it's your effort and it's your participation that makes all the difference in our schools. I know it because I see it. So I appreciate that, and I'm going to give you the latest updates from Board District 3. The Board of Education's Family and Community Engagement Committee will reconvene on December the 14th at 5:00 p.m. I encourage you to tune in to the Board of Education's Family and Community Engagement Committee on December the 14th, again at 5:00. So the board's Special Ed Committee, which I also chair, reconvened last time on November the 2nd, and we learned that the California Ed Code identifies 4 criteria for reclassification of special ed children. We also focus on the special ed action plan, priorities and goals as it relates to the 5 pillars. And our next meeting of the special ed committee is on January the 11th at 5 p.m. January 11th, 5 p.m. And lastly, Board District 3, once again, we have our Student Advisory Council, the best kids you've ever seen in your entire life, consisting of student reps from all of my high schools, including my continuation schools. This is our 7th year of Student Advisory Council. We have a great group of students again. They report back to their student bodies and help them there. We meet once a month from September to April, hybrid meetings, 4 in person and 3 virtual meetings. And students are able to apply what they learn right back at their schools. And that's the goal. At our meetings, students are given the opportunity to share feedback, opinions, and ideas with me about specific issues happening on their campuses. That's it for me. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful holiday celebration. Thank you.
Hello, 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 hello.
The sign language interpreters have lost audio for the meeting.
Test it.
I'm the interpreter. Can you hear me? The Spanish in
Yes.
I can hear, yes. I just don't see us on the screen, so I don't know if like.
My name is Emma Morales. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, especially with Mental Health. We are talking about winter wellness. Are we ready for winter? Yeah. Winter for LA is 80 under 80, right? It's pretty cold for us. But I want to share, winter brings a lot of activities. Like our superintendent mentioned, there's a lot of school activities, there's a lot of spending, a lot of family gatherings, a lot of things. And with that comes stress, comes mixed emotions, right? So during the season, we often think of others as well. So for this presentation, I would like to invite you today to think about yourself, to focus on your wellness. That's what we will be doing today. Our pillar for strategic plan, pillar 2, is joy and wellness. Joy means the feeling of great pleasure and happiness. When we think about the holidays, we think about winter, sometimes it's happiness that we feel, and sometimes it's other feelings, right? But when we think about joy, it's the feeling of great pleasure and happiness. We know that if students, staff, and parents experience joy, that learning happens, that there is less threat, and that experiences can be more pleasant. So for today, I want you to think about one word that brings you joy. Take a moment right now, think about one word. For me, it's chocolate. For some, it might be travel. Think about that one word for you that brings you joy.
I mean,
Family. Someone said family. Would anybody else like to share?
Coffee kids.
Coffee cake. LAUSD coffee cake. The original one, right? The original one. Anyone else?
health. Health,
Health. Definitely.
family,
Family. So maybe you might think about your child or your furry friends, right? One strategy you could do to elicit that sense of joy is just focusing on that particular word, that particular thing that brings you joy. For this presentation, we're going to talk about wellness for the mind, body, and soul. Mindful wellness. Some of us love the holiday season. We're excited about it. We look forward to that. Waiting in line sometimes at Target, right? Or some of us, it's not such a happy feeling. It's feelings of grief, loss, because the ones that were once there are no longer. And or changing traditions. Some of the, some family members get married and things shift and they're not around as much. Very many mixed feelings, and that's normal. Okay, there's no wrong or right way to feel about the holiday season. It could be a difficult time for some of us, but the main thing that I want you to know is that it's important for us to reflect on it, to pause, to think, and to feel. Emotional wellness, become aware of and identify how you feel during this time. Be present, paying attention, noticing how your body feels. One thing you can do is try writing in a journal. State, I feel whatever feeling it might be, angry, lonely, happy, excited, because, and then just writing the reason why. Another thing you can do is also practice mindfulness by looking up a meditation online, practicing a meditation, just being present with yourself and taking deep breaths. There's countless meditations on YouTube. There's a female voice, a male voice, children for children. There's countless meditations. You can do a 2-minute to a 10-minute or longer if you wish. But this really helps you stay connected with your mind, stay connected with your body, and it really helps you feel better. Another aspect of identifying coping strategies that help you feel better in difficult situations. For some of us, we need to take a break and remove ourselves from a situation. For some of us, we need to take deep breaths. For others, we need to do an activity to keep us distracted from something. Okay. So being aware of what works for you. I would like to invite you at this time, all of us in the room and online, to practice something we call body scan meditation. Okay. So as you sit in your chair, or you stand in the back of the room, or you're sitting where you are and virtually, I'm going to invite you to practice this with me. Okay, I want you to sit comfortably where you're sitting. If you can put your phone down, put your computer away for one moment, and just really be here. Be present. Feel your feet on the ground. Begin by bringing attention into your body. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. It helps you focus. You can notice your body seating, standing, wherever you're sitting. Feeling the weight of your body on the chair, on the floor. And take a few deep breaths. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Continue taking these deep breaths in and deep breath out. As you take a deep breath in, bring in more oxygen to the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxing more deeply. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. You can notice your feet on the floor. Wiggle your toes. Notice the sensation of your feet touching the floor. The weight and the pressure of you sitting or standing. You can notice your legs against the chair. Pressure, pulsing, heaviness, lightness. Notice your back against the chair. Bring your attention into your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Take a breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Feel any sensation in your arms. Let your arms be soft. Notice your neck and shoulders. Let them soft, relax. Soften your jaw. Let your face muscles be soft. You notice your whole body present. Feel your body. Take one more deep breath in, deep breath out. Be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and be here. As we practice this activity, I noticed that the energy of the room shifted. I get a sense of calmness around the room, hopefully virtually as well. Our mind and body are constantly activated, not just by our phones, by those around us, but the activities that are going around us. And it's really important for us to take time to be present and for us to focus on ourselves and do this activity, something similar to keep our mind and body healthy. So I hope you enjoy this activity. Would anybody like to share how it made them feel?
Very relaxed.
Calm and relaxed. Good, I'm glad. Our next thing that we will cover is a physical wellness. Did you know that exercise can have a positive impact on anxiety and depression? It can shift your mood. As we have a lot of activities, we have more anxiety, more stress, more depression possibly. Exercise can really help in this aspect. And it doesn't have to be a long-winded exercise. It could be a simple walk. It can make you feel better. So you can do a run as well, or dance at home with your family, with your pets. You can put on a dance song and dance it out. My son is into frogs, okay? So one thing I often do is just go and look up a video, an exercise frog video. Surprisingly, you'll be surprised. There are frog exercise videos out there. So think about something your family enjoys and look it up on YouTube and see if there's an exciting exercise or activity about it. Okay, there's a lot of things that are out there. Taking a family hike, going on a walk with your family can be good for you. Another thing for physical wellness is to consider what you eat, because it can really impact your mental health, right? So consider adding more fruits and vegetables into your plate. As we go into winter, make time to rest. Try taking a nap. Another thing to keep your body healthy is also scheduling the doctor's appointment. Consider making a doctor's appointment for a physical. Everyone needs to have a physical. We do it for our kids, we do it for others all the time, but oftentimes we don't do it for ourselves. Or we wait till last. I'll do it next month, I'll do it during break, and then break comes and we forget. So really consider that. And I really stress that. I work with children, and there was one particular child who came in, the mom said, my child is lazy, he doesn't want to get up from bed. And when I asked, have you considered taking her to the doctor? Would that be something that we could do to get her physical, to make sure she gets checked out? Mom came back and told me, Miss Morales, my child, had a thyroid condition and we didn't know. And this is why she was feeling the way she was feeling. So there is a really strong connection with our body and our body and our emotions. So we want to make sure that we get those physicals, not just for our kids, but for ourselves. So I really want to encourage that for each of us. And prevention is key, right? When we talk about wellness for our soul, okay, each one of you lit up when we talked about that one word that brings you joy. So doing that one thing that brings you joy makes your soul sing, so to speak, right? What might that be, that one thing? If you're into music, maybe you play an instrument, brings you joy. Listening to your favorite music, all of you, if I asked each one of you what genre you like, you'll tell me something, right? You're into the 80s or, current music or Frank Sinatra, or you could be into, 90s hip hop. Music can really bring wellness to your soul. Or listening to a podcast on a topic you enjoy. Cooking or baking. Some of us are cooks, some of us are not, right? But maybe something that you find within yourself that you like. Completing a puzzle, reading a book, watching a funny movie. We have movies that will make us laugh. Or starting a new holiday tradition. And focus on gratitude. Oftentimes in this season, we need to focus on those good things around us. Spending time with our family, something key. Lastly, I want us to stay focused on staying connected. When you're having a hard time, talk to someone. Reach out to someone you trust. Maybe it's a Zoom conversation you want to have to connect, a text, calling someone. There's also hotlines that are available during this time, so you can call support lines. Or you can schedule a therapy session. We have lots of resources for you. that are listed in our LAUSD website. One resource we have is the parent roadmap for social and emotional well-being and academic success that's available to you. And in your packet, you have the mental health support and resources handout that's available to you. That gives you a list of hotlines that are available during ongoing during this time, including our 211 and 988, which is our suicide prevention hotline. And also we have the student and family wellness hotline that is available to you during the break. I believe it's gonna be available the first and the third week of our holiday season. All the break. Lastly, I want to remind you to be gentle with yourself because you are doing the best we can. Take care of yourselves. Ask for help if you need help. And be present. Have a joyful and safe break. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Morales. As we move forward, we need to keep in mind that this is the craziest time of year, I think, for all of us personally, professionally. So we need to really heed some of the information that all these specialists are giving to us. At this time, we're going to hear from Frances Marion, who is joining us from Mental Health Services, Human Relations, Diversity, and Equity Office. Her information will address safe and welcoming schools for all.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay. ¿Y alguien necesita traducción? No? Everyone has it. Okay, good. So my name is Frances Marion. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So I'm part of Student Health and Human Services. A lot of words that go with my titles, but Human Relations, Diversity, and Equity is the unit. And I have the pleasure of focusing on supporting students, especially around issues of identity. So all the things that make us unique and that make us such an incredible district, such as our incredible diversity. And so I'm going to talk today a little bit about some of the supports my office provides. I would love to visit each of your schools. I work with all of the schools in now North Region. And we do parent workshops, we do trainings for teachers and staff, and we also come and work directly with students for classroom. So my presentation today is to talk about how we focus on creating really inclusive, welcoming, safe schools for all students. And I wanted to start by asking a few people, when you think about fast forward and your child or your children or whatever kids are important to you in your life are grown. And let's say I'm writing up an article about them in the LA Times. How do you want them described? What are some of the qualities that you want your children to have when they're adults? Is anyone willing to share? Values, respect, kindness. So some of your values are respect and kindness. Theological nodding. Other qualities you hope your children will have as adults. Yeah.
Que quiera regresar con sus padres en la escuela a la comunidad. Sí, que tenga un corazón de voluntario, que ame a su comunidad, que aprenda en la escuela, en la casa.
So having a giving heart and everything that they learn at home that they can share with their community.
Yes, being of service and paying those values forward from home. Thank you. Anyone else here?
A strong and honest work ethic.
All right, where's something?
Confidence and being productive members of society.
Great, confidence and productive member of society. So I like, oh, did you want to? Responsibility. Right. So I hear these these same answers every time I talk to parents. You know, it's no secret that we're hoping to raise kids who are gonna be kind, respectful, caring, and responsible members of our society, right? And that starts right now with the shaping that we're doing and the modeling we're trying our best with our kids right now. So I want to start by just showing a video that talks about some of the behaviors that we do unfortunately sometimes see in schools, even with very young kids, where these most precious parts of us, our identity, can be used as weapons. So first, let me just ask, what are some aspects of our identity? I'll give an example. One is the language we speak. Can you just brainstorm a couple other aspects of our identities? There. Okay, what you wear and what your outside appearance is?
Tradition,
The traditions that you practice? Mhm. Language. Your faith background, if you have one. Country of origin, disability, skin color, race, gender, right, sexual orientation. And so we can think of these topics sometimes as being big topics for little kids to talk about. But as we'll see in this video, our students are definitely already talking to each other about identity. Would you mind pressing play for me, Chuck?
Piggy, weirdo, ugly, stupid. Sometimes they tease me that I'm short and sometimes just because I'm a girl. Your religion is fake and it's not real. You're gay. You shouldn't be in this school. You're brown. You're wearing a girl shirt. And I was like, okay, I'll change my shirt.
If a student isn't feeling safe or comfortable, they aren't focusing on what I'm teaching them.
We know bullying happens in our school. What can we do about this?
What makes you feel safe at school?
Tomorrow? Teachers?
A new kid calls your friend gay.
I would get help from an adult because adults know more about this kind of situation.
I would just ignore it because I really wouldn't know how to handle it.
I would have said, my aunt's gay and you can't change it.
Blue was a quiet color. Red liked to pick on blue.
It makes fun of the way you are and everything, and you can't help what you are.
Has anybody ever heard anybody get called a name because of their skin color?
They called him chocolate balls. When we have discussion like that in class, I feel like more comfortable. Well, when I was in first grade, this big girl kept on flicking me in the head.
So that hurt.
In two ways.
What are the two ways?
One physically and one mentally.
If all of these people stood straight up like an arrow and said no,
No.
do you think it would help?
To me, it's a no-brainer. You have to make sure that our students are comfortable talking about difference so that they can ease into their learning and feel confident in their growth.
Two or three kids came up to me right after the lesson and they wanted to tell me about things that were said to them that hurt. It meant that that was a success. I'm sorry.
Peggy?
Would anyone like to share any reflections or thoughts after seeing the video?
those are our own students.
No, that is a national, that's a national video, yes. But I can tell you from my work in school, it could be in terms of really similar conversations. Thanks for the question. Yes.
I think it's very powerful that so that students face that, and I know different times. Second is when they do how we did in seconds, first is the Stepping in, so I'm not saying it gives you this help,
Mhm.
you know, to stand up sometimes and speak out. If there is an adult around, the adult handle it, but I have noticed that when kids speak out, it does stop.
Yes, so the comment was noticing the effectiveness of students standing up for each other. And how in the video, they talked about various, they talked about various interventions. You could get help from adults, you could, walk away, but also you could say something. And standing up for each other, we know, is one of the most powerful ways to ensure teasing and bullying that takes place. Yes.
The video is very powerful and can program as well, so I'm just curious that to do the schools, especially at such a young level, for kids to have a precedent of how to report, is that something you have?
Great question. So this is a trailer from a video, like you said, that pertains to a particular program. While we don't have that full program in most of our schools, it is available for individual schools to partner with that agency. But what my unit does is we train and work with schools and students, or schools and, well, we do work with students as well, but with teachers and staff around how to hold some of these conversations, especially as they come up. Looking at our curriculum, is our curriculum providing opportunities for all different types of students to see themselves and their families reflected, right? When that difference comes up and kids, especially at this young age, point out the difference and maybe sometimes in not so kind ways, do our teachers feel and our staff feel equipped to respond and have it be a learning opportunity to talk about respecting differences and learning about different cultures and different traditions and interrupting any stereotypes or biased language that takes place, right? So if you want more information about that specific program, it is a wonderful program called Welcoming School. Thanks. Yes.
Es un programa muy interesante, pero pues sé que ustedes están trabajando ya con los padres. So this program is very interesting and I know that you're already training parents. Pero sí hay que poner mucho enfoque en darle a los padres esas también de cómo trabajar esto en casa. But it's also important to share and give the parents the tools in order for them to work through this with their children at home. Porque si es a veces en casa, culturalmente, a veces los padres dicen, no te dejes, te pegas. Entonces tiene que ser un trabajo complementario por el lugar.
Claro.
Entonces, sé que ya están dando estas clases, pero sí nos parece la manera de encontrar la colaboración también en escuelas. So although admin and personnel are doing a great job on campus, she said it's also a great idea to give the parents these tools because culturally sometimes as parents our response is don't let yourself, they hit you, hit back, and things like that. So it's important to make that collaboration with school and home in order to, in other words, for it to be effective.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. And one of my favorite parts of my job is that I get to do parent workshops. So if you are interested in bringing me to your school, please ask at your school and I can come do a parent workshop there.
Yes, so question, is it not something that can be sort of led school district wide to like have that program where it's just at least a one-off where everyone gets presentation and assembly and then individual groups can continue to have more?
Absolutely. I mean, I will say that and I saw that you had a hand for that as well. I am one person for one small unit, but what's so beautiful about our district is there's not just one unit working on equity and diversity and inclusion, right? There's so many ways that those values are woven throughout our district programming, including on our strategic plan. But I would love to talk with you about, your ideas and we can always expand. There's always more. Did you want to share something?
So in addition to everything that you bring to the table, our school practice, you have SEL curriculum, so we have second step, we have harmony, we have our sports, where we tell them. So even though we don't have that particular program, we have something.
Thank you so much. And so one of the things I did want to cover is that, of course, we are promoting kindness and we are promoting respect. And we also need to take seriously and address when something happens that is severe, when it's repeated, when it doesn't stop, when kids are upstanders or adults get involved, right? And so any type of bullying or picking on each other that has to do with these protected categories of identity and these most precious components of who we are. Those are those are things that we have to take very seriously. So sometimes parents share those identities with their kids. Sometimes a kid comes home and maybe my kid would say that they heard something anti-Semitic. And since we're a Jewish family, I can say, yes, baby, I've heard those things too. And it's really hurtful. And this is how we cope with it, right? And then sometimes we don't share the same identities as our kids. Maybe if we have kids that are a different sexual orientation than us, or maybe they're not sharing with us some of the things they're going through, it can be harder to know how to respond. Today, I just wanted to share a couple more slides specifically about the teasing and bullying that happens for our LGBT students. So up here, you see just a couple infographics that talk about the impact of this identity-based bullying has on our kids' participation in school. Not surprising, we see that kids miss more school and struggle with their mental health and their academics if they're being teased and picked on for who they are, right? And then this slide on the right shows the mental health impacts of some of that discrimination or bullying and what a difference it makes when kids have that support at home. So here you see that on the right, the number of suicide attempts for students who don't have support from an adult at home is much, much higher. And that risk goes dramatically down when there's someone at home who can step in and help protect them. So here you see that as families are able to work with their kids, even if, okay, baby, I don't understand everything you're telling me about your identity, or it's taking me a while to understand it. I know that if I want to keep my kids safe, the best way to do that is to show that unconditional love and support. And we know that here at school, there's a lot we can do as well to make sure that we're, to impact that as well. And you see those behaviors on the right, having anti-bullying policies, having clubs for students, and having curriculum where kids can see themselves reflected in greatness, right? So I'll just end with a little video. Thank you.
Bueno.
Hola, Paz, soy yo.
Javier, ¿cómo estás, hijo? ¿Ya estás en camino?
Sí, ya vamos en camino. En unas horas estamos ahí.
¿Con quién estás?
Con Manuel, un amigo de la uni. Es que no tenía con quién pasar las fiestas y me pareció que era buena idea invitarlo.
Claro, hijo, no hay problema. Conduce con cuidado.
Bueno, sí, te tengo que dejar. Nos vemos al rato, pa.
Nos vemos, hijo.
Hola, soy un padre divorciado de 52 años y necesito ayuda. Creo que mi hijo y su amigo son pareja y no se animan a decirme. Llevan varios días aquí y aunque tratan de ser sutiles, no lo han logrado mucho.
Hola, ¿les tomo su orden?
Un café doble para mí.
¿Tú qué vas a pedir, amor? ¿Cómo les digo que está todo bien? Hola, hijo.
Hola, pa.
Quería hablar contigo.
Dime.
Quería decirte que te quiero.
Lo que me quieres decir es
quieres como soy.
Brought to you by Doritos. Thank you, Rainbow Capitalism. And June knows there's a commercial for everything. So really just end with this slide about, it's okay if we don't have all the words, right? You saw that dad on the chat sites trying to find the exact words to say to his son. And what did his son really need to hear? I love you, and I love you exactly as you are, right? So just know that my office is here to support. I'm happy to come out and provide trainings at your school site, parent workshops. Here's my contact information, and please feel free to take a picture and reach out via email. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marion. The whole concept, and I think we touched upon it a couple times already, in this day and age of raising children that are emotionally healthy, socially healthy, has become so critical. Please welcome Ms. Geraldine Vega. Ms. Vega is a social emotional learning advisor, and she's going to give us some ideas on how to best support strong social emotional skills at home. Ms. Vega, welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for having me. Before I get started, I'm going to be very brief, but I did want to ask everyone if we can stand up. And even those of us joining online, if you've been sitting down in the chair, if you can stand up really quickly. We always have to be conscious of standing up every few minutes. And let's do a little stretch. We can raise our shoulders up, really tight like a turtle, and then extend it down. I love that I see some hands up in the air. We've been sitting there. We haven't been moving very much. So just a nice stretch, maybe a deep breath. And then let it out. All right, thank you. Have a seat, and all those online also have a seat. Thank you. All right, I'm going to briefly talk about how we can support strong social emotional skills at home. As you know, that's our pillar 2 priority, joy and wellness, like Emma talked about. And I know, as with everything, I know our parents and our community help us out in all of our goals. So I want to just go through some of these strategies. A few quick ones that you can add to your toolbox to support us at home. Emma already quickly mentioned the parent caregiver roadmap. We already have version 2 up on the website, on the Student Health and Human Services website, the PBI, every single website that we have, you'll find a link somewhere to it. And version 1 to the right here is the one that was mailed to everyone last fall. So it was mailed to everyone. Online, I did see, it's awesome. It's in 5 different languages. And just in case, I wanted to bring it up again because some of you saw now, you're like, yep, I got that one. And it does have some really, really great strategies and tools about how we can continue to increase our resiliency. Resilience is really helpful because it helps us overcome obstacles and any strong events that happen, like the pandemic. And one thing I want you all to know, everyone here, everyone online, and our students, we're resilient. We are already resilient people. We've shown that. Constantly, we're overcoming obstacles that come our way. We figure out a way to get it done. But there's always more toolboxes we can add to help us keep supporting them. And so that roadmap is great. And this strategy that I'm going to show next actually is on page 26 of that book that got mailed. And just like brushing our teeth every day, we want to make sure too that we're taking care of our brain and our bodies as well. And something really helpful that some of our schools are doing and that you can do at home is also following these thematic activities for the week. And they have them really nicely that helps you remember. So like for Monday, it's Mindful Monday. Just taking a moment, maybe we get our kids home from school or even on the car drive, just to have a mindful moment, just a moment to pause. How are you feeling today? Or even let's pause and smell the flower. Let's pause and notice this pencil, just a texture, just mindfulness, just stopping and noticing. Then we have gratitude. Gratitude. You've heard already many times how it's so important to be voicing out loud, just think that we're grateful. Someone mentioned your health earlier, we're grateful for our health, for our family. And then Wellness Wednesday, what are things that we can do? Go for a quick walk, ride your bike, maybe even just stepping outside down the street and then back. We're just taking that moment to pause and go outside for our wellness. Then you have Thoughtful Thursday. What are things that we can do to be kind to each other, to people that we love? And that could even just be thinking about it or actually telling someone. And then Fun Friday, maybe having a fun game night, some fun activity that we do together on a Friday, but keeping that theme. So that's something that we can do every day to practice mindfulness and help us with our resiliency. Okay, and now I want to have you take a moment to pause and reflect and just think about a time when you were stressed. Maybe it was yesterday, maybe this morning, maybe right now. Hopefully not, but just think of that moment and think about how does your body feel when you're stressed? How's your breathing when you're stressed? How's your thinking ability? Before asking you questions and you're feeling stressed, how are you able to think about it? Now, would anyone like to share some of the things that came to mind? Headaches? Sleeplessness, yes, you can't sleep. Hungry. Some of things I noticed or remembered was so my heartbeat kind of goes fast, my heartbeat, and then my body feels very tense. Yeah, it's really important that you're aware of those signs because my signs might be a little different than yours. Some of them are common, like headaches, and some of us even start kind of sweating a little bit or certain parts. I noticed that for me, my palm will start tingling. And it's really interesting because now I know that's a sign. And there's times I'm somewhere and my palms start tingling. I didn't realize I was stressed, but my body was telling me like, hey, we are. So it's good to notice those signs because I want to tell you about deep breathing. Deep breathing is a strategy that we can implement as soon as we notice those signs to help us calm down and have control of our emotions and our mind. So as soon as we kind of start noticing those signs, we can start controlling our stress. Because what happens is when you start becoming stressed, immediately we go into fight or fight mode because that's our body's survival. We're beautiful in that way, that as soon as we're stressed, our body thinks we are in danger and we have to run away from something or protect ourselves. And so what that does, you'll notice there's potentially signs of increased heart rate, shallow breathing, and it shuts down the thinking part of our brain because that part is not important right now. What's important is the other parts, us being able to run or protect ourselves. And so, as some of you mentioned some signs, also take a moment to think about chronic stress. Our bodies find ways to tell us when we're stressed. If you have constant headaches, your body's trying to tell you we're stressed. Chronic fatigue, if you're feeling really tired all the time, those are just signs that your body's telling you that we're stressed. So it's just, again, to be hyper aware of that so that when we know that, we model that for our children. Because it's important for them to, at a very young age, to start realizing their signs and to have tools. And so that, one of those tools I wanted to make sure we use is the deep breathing. Deep breathing calms our mind. It immediately brings in oxygen. As soon as we breathe in and we breathe out those toxins. And the signals for the breathing in and out starts translating to our body like, okay, we can calm down. We're okay. And then your thinking part of our brain is accessible again. So for our students, when they're stressed in the classroom or somewhere in the school year, they won't be able to think or learn. And so that's why we spend time with strong social emotional skills to teach them strategies to be able to self-manage. And then same thing for us as adults. We can't help our children if we're stressed ourselves. We want to, really bad, of course, but just physically, if our thinking part of our brain is shut down, that part is gonna be hindered. So before maybe we even address, if I have someone, I'm taking care of someone and they're maybe crying out, or they're fighting, the first thing I might wanna do is just notice, okay, I'm getting tense because I'm becoming frustrated, and let me take that deep breath. So then that way, I can better be able to support other people. So take care of yourself as well in that moment. So one strategy I wanna really teach you or like review with you, because I actually learned this, the parent really liked it. I said, you know what, I really like this strategy, the take 5 breathing, because you have everything you need here. And so how it is that you could do it yourself, you can then teach your child, but you have your hand, and then you use the other hand, your pointer finger, and then you trace your hand up and down, up and then down. And what this does, it's so helpful because it can help guide you. You go up, you take your breath in, and I even pause a little bit at the top, and then we breathe out. And then we go back up, and you're breathing in, and you're going slowly, and that helps control. Eventually, as soon as we do this so much, as soon as I start doing this, my brain automatically is going to reflex, it's going to slow down, it's going to know. But when we're learning it, this could be really helpful because it helps you control that, and it goes 5 times, which is what we want to do. And so imagine having that tool. You can do it out here. You can also do it very discreetly, hiding under it, so no one's going to know. But you're guiding yourself in that moment. And so that strategy is really great. I also have it in the handout that it's in your pockets. Another one that works really nicely, sometimes with the younger children, is being able to trace shapes. So same idea as with the hand, but maybe having a physical paper where they're tracing, they breathe in at one point and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And what really matters here is you find something that works for you and for your child. They might say, I think the star, I want a triangle. Perfect, use a triangle. They breathe in, then breathe out, breathe in. And they maybe do it twice. So everyone's different. Go back and have a conversation. Some of you were saying, my child might be already learning this at school. So just ask them, hey, do you have a breathing strategy that you like at school? Because if they're using some of that program like Inner Explorer, they teach young children to do the shark fin. And they're teaching others to do that shark fin. So they can show you their strategy, and then maybe you can use that together. But that's just important. Go back and ask. And if not, maybe share one of these to see if they like it. There's also so many researchers on YouTube that they prefer watching a video and have visuals, things going up and slowing down. But just as a reminder, let's keep adding to our toolbox, because the more we have, the more we can pull what we need them in times. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vega. And I need to thank the last couple presenters as well as Ms. Costco. I have asked them to be flexible in the end and honor your time. So we will be finishing our presentations about 10:45, so that you do have the time that you need to meet with your administrators. Okay. At this time, I want to introduce to you, for those of you that have not met her, Ms. Denise Costco. She is the Elementary English Language Arts Coordinator for Region North, and she's going to give you some ideas on how to support literacy at home. Ms. Castro.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Denise Gatzko, Elementary Literacy Coordinator. Did you know that reading for just 6 minutes can bring your stress level down by 60% and slow your heartbeat? So, you know, if you're done breathing, you can maybe take 6 minutes and bring your stress level down by 60%. Okay, so I'm so glad to be here today. I hope I can come on a monthly basis to provide a reading tip for you. Everybody that walked in had a goodie bag of a pack of books and a reading tip sheet. And if you did not get one, Stephanie can give one to you if you just raise your hand. So, You know, as parents, as educators, as community partners, what we want is for our students to become skilled readers. We want them to be independent and feel good about themselves. But what exactly is being a skilled reader? So more often in primary grade levels, we think, okay, well, students need to be able to actually read. They need to be able to decode, figure out words. They need to know that letters have sounds, and when you put those letters and sounds together, you read a word. Another thing that will tell us that your child or our students are skilled readers is that they are fluent in their reading. Sometimes we call this reading like a storyteller. So if they're reading and they sound like they're talking, they are fluent readers. And so these are the most common ones that we think about. My child is a skilled reader, but we also have comprehension. Is the student actually understanding what they are reading? But today we're really going to focus on a good starting point as parents. And hopefully you can, if you're a parent center director, you can share this with the parents at your school site. We know that our students are skilled readers if they can engage and hopefully enjoy reading. And that begins with you at home with your child, or if you're a caretaker, if you're an aunt or uncle, a cousin. Everybody can help the children or the students in their home become skilled readers. So today, we're just going to focus on one tip. We can come back every month and give you an additional tip. But what we do know is that reading at home increases the amount of time your child is practicing. When they're reading with you, that means that your child gets better reading practice, but more importantly, they're also bonding with you. And that bond makes a connection with reading and literacy. One thing we know is that the fire of literacy is created by the emotional sparks between a child, a book, and the person reading. It isn't achieved just by the book alone, nor the child alone, nor the adult who's reading it. It is the relationship that is that is intertwining between all three, bringing them together. And so we really want you to know the power of reading with your children at home. So with that, I'm going to ask you to take out your little tip sheet, and it's in English and Spanish. And we're just going to go over one tip today. It's simple, and I know everybody here can do it. If you did not get one, of course, you just raise your hand and we can grab it. It looks like this. So there's an English side and a Spanish side. Okay. And it was in a baggie of books. So today, our reading tip is just simply asking questions and the importance of conversation. There are 4 different types of questions that I'm going to share with you today. Questions that get you excited about reading a book. Questions about words in a book. And that helps increase vocabulary. Questions about what happens in a book. And questions about how to read a book like a storyteller. So if you have these different types of questions at your fingertips, when you're reading with the children at your home, you can ask any one of these questions. And so we're just going to start first and foremost with questions that get you excited about a book, okay? So if you're reading a fictional book, this is usually making a prediction. It could be one really great question you can start with, or for nonfiction, you can say, what do you think that you're going to learn about? So for this, I'm actually going to need a parent volunteer. Come on up. Okay. So at home, I'll be the parent. You can be my kid, okay? And we're gonna find a great place at home. It could be a cozy chair. It can be at bedtime on the bed when the children are getting close to going to sleep. Anywhere will be fine. So if you don't mind, we'll do a read aloud together. Okay, don't worry. It'll be easy.
No judgment.
So the book we're gonna read is called Alma and How She Got Her Name. And so for us, we'll be able to look at the screen so that we are actually reading this together. Alma Sofía Esperanza José Pura Candela had a long name, too long if you asked her. What do you think this book is about?
How she got her name, maybe, perhaps?
And how, what in the book tells you that?
She has a very long name.
She has a very long name, you saw it there, right, written, right? My name is so long, Daddy, it never fits, Alma said. Come here, he said. Let me tell you the story of your name, then you decide if it fits. Sophia was your grandmother, he said. She loved books, poetry, jasmine, flowers, and of course, me. She was the one who taught me how to read. I love books and flowers, and you too, Daddy. I am Sophia. Sorry. Esperanza was your great-grandmother, he continued. She hoped to travel, but never left the city where she was born. Her only son grew up to cross the 7 seas. Wherever her sailor son went, so did Esperanza's heart. I noticed the word great-grandmother. What can you tell me about this word?
That she's great.
That she's great? What do you think it means when we read great-grandmother?
Someone before your grandmother?
Someone before your grandmother. That's right. So I'm going to step out of read aloud mode. So many times we ask questions about a word that may have multiple meanings, a word that may confuse students, such as great-grandmother. Maybe it is somebody that's great. Oh, my grandmother's so great, but maybe it just means the person that came before your grandmother.
My daughter's grandmother.
Right.
She's my great-grandmother.
Yes, and so for some kids, if you're not working on vocabulary, maybe this word is overwhelming. And so maybe they can't read it or decode it. So maybe you just start off by saying, what sound does the first letter make? Or we've been working on the spelling pattern, EA, what sound does it make? Or for older students, you can chunk the word into smaller syllables or pieces. Those are the reading tips we can continue to do on a monthly basis. We can really dive into that. But these are the types of questions you ask about words. So we've asked 2 types of questions so far. We'll continue reading. The world is big. I want to go see it, Daddy. You and me together. I am Esperanza. Jose was my father, Alma's dad, said. He was an artist with a big family like many people had back then. Early each morning, he walked to the mountains and the plazas to paint everyday life. Sometimes I went along. Your grandfather taught me how to see and love our people. I wake up early every day and I draw a lot too. This morning, I drew a kitty cat for you, Daddy. I am Jose. Buddha was your great aunt. She believed that the spirits of our ancestors are always with us, watching over us. When you were born, she tied a red string around your wrist, a charm to keep you safe. Hello, Buddha. It's me, Alma. Candela was your other grandmother. She always stood up for what was right. I am Candela. Love the story of my name. Now tell me about Alma, Daddy. Where does that come from? I picked the name Alma just for you. You are the first and the only Alma. You will make your own story. Alma, Sofia, Esperanza, Jose, Pura, Candela. That's my name. And it fits me just right. I am Alma, and I have a story to tell. So, what do you think this book was about now?
I think giving her own identity, but in the same time, bringing her family together.
And why do you say that?
There's a lot of names in there that she was named. I don't know how it's gonna turn on a driver's license.
So one thing we do encourage you to do is to have conversations with your children as you're reading. And I don't know, maybe you feel a little calmer now, less stressed out. We have been reading for a little more than 6 minutes. And so this last type of question that we ask, they're just questions about what happens in a book. And so in the tip sheet, we've given you multiple questions about multiple different types of questions that you can ask as you are reading. And what I actually want to do is thank you for standing up here with me.
Oh, thank you.
And so the last type of question is, once you're done reading, you can go back and you can reread with your child and say, hey, let's make this, how can we reread it to make it sound more smooth in language that they'll understand? Can you reread to sound more like you're talking? So, or you can model, listen as I reread this part, what did you hear? So I encourage you to take the book packs that you got today. In the book packs, they come with a little reading journal in case you want, your child to draw about what they're reading. And it also comes with a literacy guide. And so what we know is that spending quality time reading, talking, and listening will strengthen your bond with your children. But one thing you really might want to hear is that reading together at bedtime tells them that tells the body that it's time to go to sleep. And it helps you relax. And then once they go to sleep, then you can relax too. Right? So again, just know that so if you have a kindergartner or first grader, simple questions. What do you think this book is going to be and why? What do you think will happen next? What letter does that word start with? You don't have to ask all of these questions. You can just pick one type of question and have a conversation with your child. Same thing with 2nd, 5th, 6th grade. What do you think you might learn from this book if it's nonfiction? Okay. And of course, you can always feel free to reach out. On the tip sheet at the bottom, I have put my contact information at the bottom if you want to email me. We have also put a link to the Alma book in English and Spanish if that's something that you'd like to do with the children at your house, and maybe explore the story of their name. So again, I thank you for your time. I went over a few minutes, but
thank you so much, Denise. I did want to just once again do another round of applause for our presenters. They did an excellent job. I'm afraid it is difficult when you're told, you prepared 15 slides and you're told we're short on time, so adjust. And they did it beautifully. Thank you so much. At this time, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. At this time, it is going to be your opportunity to get together with your community of schools administrators, but I want to take the opportunity, in case you have not met them, to introduce them to you. From Canoga Park, Miss Mary Melvin. Cleveland Community Schools, Miss Deborah McIntyre. Dr. Jim Morris joins us from Kennedy, Northwood Academy, Farming and Market Science. For long name, Dr. Morris. Monroe Community Schools, Mr. Roger Avila. Rosita, Dr. Eric Maxey. And again, welcome back, Dr. Denise Collier of the TAP. I will also let you know that we now as a region, we do have 6 additional community and school and their administrators. Their pictures are up. They were not here. They're not able to be with us. They did have their meeting with the superintendent last week. But as we move forward, we will all be one unit. And so I wanted to make sure you were aware that we have Miss Mary Nichols from the Hollywood Valley Village, Dr. Elizabeth Beltran, Panorama, Sun Valley Community of Schools, John Roming, Silent Tahunga, Carmina Nacorda, San Fernando, Silmar Community of Schools, Eduardo Solorzano, and Van Nuys, Valley Glen, Vicky DeMonte. So you will be seeing them. We are going to show you those schools on the next slide, just in case you ended up here instead of at the other meeting. So you can kind of get an idea. And those will all be, once we get everything updated, they'll be on the website. Moving on, I'm going to ask the directors to please, I'm going to have you break up by groups. I'm going to have Ms. Melvin, if you don't mind, at the front table. And we'll just do it in the same order. Ms. Melvin at the first table, Ms. Sharina with Cleveland at the second, Kennedy, Dr. Jim Morris in the back over here. Roger Avila, we're going to have you take the back left table. And right where you're at, Dr. Eric Maxey, that worked out great. And the front table, Dr. Collier. For those of you that are online virtually, please stay on. I'm going to introduce and they're going to take over Dr. Margaret Kim, Administrator of Instruction for Region North, and Dr. Deborah Bryan, Administrator of Operations. They will be available to you to answer questions online. Thank you, and once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Arlen. Our job. I know. Well, you did a great job. So can they hear us? I don't know if you can hear me. We are transitioning into Q&A session at the moment. I know the in-person participants are joining their co-administrators and Dr. Baca as well. Dr. Bryan and I will be here to answer questions that you might have. And let me see, I am seeing about 32 parents still in the Zoom, so we'll be more than happy to answer questions. I think the best way is through chat, right? Chat? Okay.
No, they have,
so the best
Dr.
way
Kim, they have Q&A.
Is perhaps if you can drop your question in the chat box and I'll try to either respond. I don't know, can you hear me? There's a lot of noise in this room, so you might be having a difficult time listening to me, but I'll do my best. I will, I think the best way might be to respond in chat. I don't know. Can somebody respond? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, I can answer the way I'm talking to you right now. If not, I can actually respond in the chat.
Dr. Kim?
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
They can't hear
much.
me.
So if you drop the question in the chat, then I'll do my best and I'll see if I can also consult with other members here to respond to your question. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you don't have any questions, you do not have to stay. We thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate you.
But you can't hear me.
And Dr. Bryan, our operations administrator, also just joined us via chat. So via Zoom. So if you can, Dr. Bryan, I think they can also hear you as well.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Allen, can you please double check just to make sure? Dr. Bryan,
we can hear you.
If you go ahead and unmute yourself, I think they will be able to hear you.
Okay, so Dr. Kim, they have a Q&A section, so they can put their questions in the Q&A.
Okay.
And
So,
unfortunately, I can't turn on my video.
Questions, you can go ahead and drop in the chat box for us. We are very, very happy that you were able to join us today. And wasn't that a great activity that we did? You know, both social emotional activity as well as the literacy activity. We'll try to bring in those content for parents for every meeting. Today was literacy, and we hope to hear that again next time. And then we can probably extend to the math content as well. As our math coordinator, Mr. Steve Allen is also joining us via Zoom. So we'll continue to provide you the content in terms of instruction with all of you parents. Okay. What questions might you have?
They're putting them in the Q&A. One of the questions is, when will parents be allowed back on campus?
And if you don't have any questions, you do not have to stay. Once again, we thank you for joining us. Do you see any
questions? Will go come through Q&A.
Okay, so we will also double check the Q&A section to see if we can respond to the question.
Yes.
So there's a question about when will the parents be allowed back on campus for various meetings? And I believe the parent is asking, you know, for parent conferences and other meetings, they're being asked to participate via Zoom. So right now, our operations administrator and our operations coordinator, Dr. Brian and Mr. Garden, are typing the answers for you. Right, they're typing the answers. Yeah. I know they're typing the answers for you, and I hope I'm not wrong. I know that as we are transitioning into the normal routines, schools are doing in many ways, schools are doing hybrid. You know, parents will be allowed to attend via Zoom, just like what we're doing today, in person, very carefully, you know, organized, of course, and then also via Zoom. And I think the answer was already put in Q&A. What we could do is put it in the chat so that everybody can see. Let me see.
If you can hear me, the question was?
I think you all have access to Q&A. If you click on the Q&A, you can also see the response from our operations team.
So the question is, when will parents be
And the
allowed on
response is,
campus?
the district policy allows parents to be on campus. Please let us know your school name so that we can speak with the administration at the school site. So once again, as we are transitioning, schools are going back to the previous ways of holding meetings, including parent conferences. And we can help you get the information. We can actually help you, your school, to have the communication with the parents about the upcoming meetings. Hey, what other questions might you have?
Just enables it so our participants, if they to drop in the chat, they can.
Oh, okay.
There's only 12 people.
Okay, great. So we just changed the format. So participating parents, you can now write your questions in the chat box as well. We just enabled it. So Q&A, of course, you can use that. At the same time, you can also use the chat box to ask your questions. Question?
No, I'm leaving and we still have the meeting on the first, right?
I'm actually doing the Q&A with our parents who are participating. Yeah. Did you have a question for me?
The meeting for parents for.
I do. I'll be right with you.
Good. I have to, so.
Okay, so hearing none, I don't know, we
We have two
parents?
hands.
We have two hands. Okay, so can you go ahead and
Isabel.
okay, Isabel, it looks like you have your hand up. Do you have any questions for us? And also, who's the other one?
Anna.
And Anna, Miss Anna Galaza, do you have any questions for us? I don't know, we can't hear them though.
They might be able to talk now. I just
Yeah.
enabled- I've never done that
Okay.
before. but
Yeah.
They may be able to come off mute.
Okay, let's try this. Anna and Isabel, either one of you can you unmute yourself? Let me see if I can hear your voice. If you have any question. So I don't know, Isabel and Anna, you can actually either write the question in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Anna just left.
Okay, thank you. Anna just left. Okay, how about Isabel? If you have any questions. Well, it looks like there are no questions. Okay, it appears that perhaps there are no questions coming from the parents. Once again, we thank you so much for joining us today. And have a wonderful rest of the day. And if we don't see you, have a wonderful winter and wonderful holidays. And we'll definitely see you in the spring semester. Thank you so much.
Yes, happy holidays.
Thank you, Dr. Payne.
Of course, thank you. Okay, now I can answer your question. Okay. Yeah.